Amazing how I've still got the force. My name's Joey and welcome to my tour of props and artifacts. Now today is going to be a video, what was that? Today is going to be a video about vintage Star Wars toys. Two reasons, and they're both main reasons. Not one reason is mainer than the other. That's a new word. Basically, I've been watching a lot of Retro Blasting. It's a brilliant video channel on YouTube here. And basically it's about vintage toys which I grew up with. I was born in 1977 and these are all the toys of my generation. And toys I didn't have, toys I vaguely remembered getting from boot sales. But mostly the content is about Star Wars and lots of little gems there and lots of things you can learn about the production of certain toys as well. So we might as well start off. I forgot the second reason. So the second reason is that basically my other half Hannah said to me recently, you have a good memory of your toys as a child. I can't remember any memories with toys. And then it got me thinking that I'd like to make a video about the memories I have with Star Wars toys, in particular the games we used to play and what kids used to say about the Star Wars figures, the little urban myths and all that kind of business. So this is a video about that. So first of all, let's start off with this lightsaber. This is a vintage Kenner lightsaber. This is the, I had to get the Empire Strikes Back edition because me and my brother had the Empire Strikes Back ones. I had the Darth Vader one here. My brother had the yellow Luke Skywalker one. Now I know there's an issue with Luke having a yellow lightsaber. I myself loved it. I never really thought too much about the fact that his lightsaber was yellow and in fact blue in the film. For me, even though I never had the Luke Skywalker one, I tried to get the yellow lightsaber because I just remember the fascinating memory of this yellow blade. And even though it wasn't my lightsaber, it created more kind of memories. So in the end anyway, this lightsaber was available in England. I recently picked it up. And it was a fair price. It was a lot of money because these were trashed by kids. I mean, the funny thing with these is, which I've learned from Retro Blasting, is they were sold as lightsabers, but you were never meant to hit another lightsaber with them. Brilliant. So this has got a hell of a lot of battle scars from children having serious fights in the garden playing. And so we trashed ours. This is why I didn't have my original one. And all I can remember as a kid growing up was seeing this end in the dirt in the back of the garden for many years to come. That was the only part that survived of this lightsaber. So anyway, when we got these, we were probably about 8 years old, which would have been well into Return of the Jedi. So the Empire Strikes Back ones were still floating around. I think my dad paid about, I remember him saying about £1 to 50p for them each. Well, inflation after 30 years on these lightsabers has gone up quite a bit. And when I bought this, as I say, I did pay quite a lot for this. Well, let's be honest, not what is money, what is anything worth? You know, it's what you want to pay. My dad always used to say, things are only worth what you're going to pay for it, what someone wants to pay for it. So yeah, this was more expensive than 50p. But anyway, I digress a hell of a lot. When I got this, I held it in my hand and I gave it a couple of swings and it just felt worth every penny. You know, the memory was amazing. I felt like a kid trying to be Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back, and the memories were amazing. And it got me thinking actually that obviously kids' toys are far more sophisticated nowadays. You know, we had the lightsabers that would flick, the blade would come out, and you had the lightsaber sound effects. And then of course you got the replica ones, which are absolutely amazing, you know. But it got me thinking that why, after all these years, has this never been done again? This is so simple. This is such a simple idea, but so satisfying. And half the magic is that your imagination fills in the gaps. You know, we know this is not a lightsaber, but this is still swooshing in the air. It's being affected by the airflow, and we're getting the sound. So vroom, vroom, It's the same principle. So someone really came up with a great idea there, and I just think it's really funny that there's been nothing in between. And I don't even know about cheap knockoff toys. Has anyone ever recreated this? Because it was a genius idea. Really cool. Worth every penny. So that's the false lightsaber. So now let's get on to Star Wars figures memories. So these were all from infant school. I never ever took my Star Wars toys to school, and that was brilliant because my mum and dad brought me up to be aware that other children might take the toys, that kind of thing, or I might lose them. So I never took anything to school. So my memories of people playing with Star Wars toys is purely them playing with theirs. So I'm going to start off with the very first figure I ever got. I've just dropped Greedo. Oh dear. Yeah. So I've got two Greedos. I could have just left him there. Anyway, so this is C-3PO. Anyone know? Anyway, this is the very first figure I ever got. I think he was 50p from Deptford Market, and I was absolutely fascinated with this because obviously I've since learnt that the chrome effect on these made these really stiff. So what my dad did was he WD-40'd him, and I remember him on the side for about a day. I couldn't touch him because he had WD-40 on him, and I was fascinated thinking he was really made of metal, and still to this day he is completely floppy. The WD-40 has rendered him pretty floppy, pretty useless, so he could never really stand up that well. So I've thought ahead and I've given him the Ewok chair to sit in. There we go. So you don't have to stand up. You're over 30 years old, so don't worry yourselves too much. Now, what next? Let's go with the Stormtrooper. So here we go. Actually, no, yes, let's go with the Stormtrooper. So here we have, I've only just recently found out, and this is again thanks to retro blasting. I had to apologise to my mum for something over 30 years ago. I would go to infant school and I'd come home and usually there'd be a Star Wars figure on the side for me. Was I spoiled? I don't know. But anyway, that was a good thing to look forward to. It wasn't every day. It might have been a particular day. I'd come home with a Star Wars figure there. Anyway, so I wanted the Stormtrooper. So my mum went and got me the Stormtrooper. She went and got me this. Incidentally, this is not his original cape. This is a repro. And I remember being disappointed and saying I wanted the Stormtrooper. This wasn't the Stormtrooper. But I've only just recently learnt. Now I know this is a Stormtrooper, but I always thought it was sold as a Snowtrooper. But I looked at the figure card after retro blasting reminded me. Of course, he was sold as an Imperial Stormtrooper in Hoth gear, in brackets. So a 30-year belated apology was there that I gave to my mum, that she had in fact actually bought me a Snowtrooper. She had in fact actually bought me a Stormtrooper. It's not the Stormtrooper I was looking for. So there's the Snowtrooper there, standing down there. So here we now have the real Stormtrooper. Yes. Now, my memory of this was magical because the kids at school used to say these were made of ice. And if you put them under a tap, they would melt. And I can still see, God knows who these kids were, but I can still see these kids now with those little water fountains they used to have in school. And they were putting the Stormtrooper underneath it, trying to melt it. And just this absolutely magical feeling of thinking, this is made of ice. I mean, whatever it's made of, they're starting to turn sticky now, so maybe it is ice. Who knows? Maybe it's got a slow melt quality. Are you going to stand up? Or the other memories of spending hours trying to make them stand up in a brilliant battle scene, and then one falls over and it's a domino effect. Who else? Right, so staying with the Imperials, not so much a memory, but another memory not amazing. AT-AT pilot. I found one of these on the butcher shop floor in Deptford High Street, so I got a freebie. Wouldn't we all love to find an old vintage Star Wars figure in a shop floor nowadays? Imperial TIE fighter pilot. Memories of getting him Christmas Day, and my dad saying how much he looked like an AT-AT pilot. Now I'm sure the AT-AT pilot probably followed after receiving him. I'm not so sure if that memory is correct, but I'm getting a slight vibe there. And I was always fascinated with the way the back of the box on his back looks like they've made an attempt to make it look like material or canvas, that kind of thing. Always found that quite fascinating. Now, stand up. You're on camera. Don't mess around. Another one. So, Bushk. I haven't really heard his name for a long time. Bosk. Please don't destroy me. The Bounty Hunter. This is about memories, so if I can't remember his name perfectly, this is not to kill me. Kids at school used to say his head was made of poo. Probably not, but yes, so kids used to say his head was made of poo. That's all I can say about him, really. I was quite fascinated with his colour scheme and all that business. Perhaps my favourite little memory of school is this is my original R2-D2, and he still makes the clicking sounds. Now here's my original one, I've just said that, so look at the absolute state of the sticker with all the markings on it. Kids used to say that he could be turned into a cannon, and they used to do that. And I'm so glad they didn't make that cannon. But then, owing to the fact that in the prequels all of a sudden R2-D2 could fly, even though he tended to forget that a few years later, I suppose anything's possible. So maybe he is a cannon, you know, who knows, maybe that's something we've never explored. I remember my dad was always quite disappointed that he didn't have the third leg. He always used to say you'd think they'd make the little third leg for that, but it's funny that that only seems to have come with the Droid Factory playset. So I'm going to throw in there, just to jump forward to Return of the Jedi, I'm so pleased that I have a Mana Man. Not only because he's one of the rare ones, but because we actually bought him when he was the last 17. So it's not like I've had to get that in later years as an adult collector. He's my childhood Mana Man. We've still got his staff as well, but we just haven't got it out for the purposes of this video. So you sit there. Bit of a crime here. This R2 unit of yours is a bit beat up. You sure you don't want another one? No, that little droid and I have been through a lot. You okay? Good. Look at the state of that. He's been shot in the back of the head riding the X-Wing fighter. This was when I was probably about 14, maybe 13. Wanted to make R2-D2 look like he'd been through the wars in the back of the X-Wing. And I'm sorry to say this was the telescoping R2-D2. And he still works, even though I've trashed him. So yes, I do have a telescoping R2-D2, but sorry to say, he was a telescoping R2-D2 from The Empire Strikes Back, so I destroyed him. Just drop Bespin Luke. Low Grey Medicine Man, but should he be Low Grey Medicine Ewok? And Chief Chirper. Remember, well, this is my memory, so I don't know if you're going to remember, but before these figures came out, on the back of the figure card, they were always in a black rectangle. And my mum got these from Harrods, and I remember her saying they had just been released. So that was pretty amazing that, you know, these were the figures that were blacked out, but I now owned them, you know. So yes, Chief Chirper and Low Grey Medicine Man, or are you Low Grey Medicine Ewok? As I say, these are memories, so if I get some of them wrong, you can correct me in the comments, you can kill me, but I am aware they are possible mistakes. So, growing up, and never coming out of Star Wars, but using figures for different things, these were always the police. I had Imperial officers here were always the police. I obviously had various American police car toys, and these would be used in conjunction with a pair of Death Star droids to look like basically a UFO had landed. The police had turned up on the scene, and these were the alien occupants. Together with sometimes Greedo. Greedo used to make an appearance as an alien, that kind of thing. Greedo was bought by my uncle, I remember, for Christmas many years ago. Yeah, you all know my uncle, don't you? No. So that's them. So they're my memories. They're the Star Wars memories that the figures have for me. A couple of other things. Got my brother's original Star Wars t-shirt from the early 80s. Looks like a knockoff because there's no labels in it or anything. But then having said that, who knows? I mean, I don't know how official things used to be in those days. So that's my brother's original Star Wars t-shirt, which, fun enough, I can still get into, which is nothing really proud to admit to. I do look rather idiotic in it, and it is a struggle to get it off. Why I'd want to put it on, I don't know. Just for a laugh, just for a laugh. So that's that. And very lastly, the very last memory I have here is one of my mum's old checkbooks, which we found, funny enough, very near to where the Star Wars figures used to sit when I used to come home from school, like if there's a new Star Wars figure. And this checkbook here, but what's inside? Here we go. Budget guns. My dad always used to buy replica guns. But no, we've got 1985 Palitoy Neem Num. Excellent. What else we got? What 19... Oh, check number. Okay, anyway, what's the date on that? Anyway, Star Wars is written there. Palitoy. Another Palitoy. Dengar. Excellent. My mum has paid for Dengar there. And I think that's it from the checkbook. Do we have a date in here? That would be quite interesting. No dates. But pretty clear it was the early, well, mid-80s, because it was the Malaway, Dengar and Neem Num. As a child, you always used to find that funny that you could get a free 4-LOM. Yeah. I found it funny. Anyway, so that's it. I think that is my Star Wars memories. I did write a list of what I wanted to say, and I brought it round here, and then I lost it. So there you go. Got lost in the ether of maybe some of the other memories that I didn't have. I have just spurred 2 more memories on. So anyway, yes, growing up in infant school as well. The games, I mean, I find it fascinating that Star Wars was quite an old film by the time I was an infant. So we're talking... I mean, it wasn't old, but, you know, we're talking 82 maybe, maybe 83. So not old, and obviously Star Wars was still strong, but I still find it fascinating that the original film, kids were still playing games from, you know, those films encompassed our lives. Whereas a lot of films don't tend to do that nowadays. You know, kids were playing those films for years to come after seeing them. So anyway, lots of kids at school used to do the Han Solo yoo-hoo into the trash compactor, and I was always the kid who was. I used to launch myself back really hard and be the stormtrooper that was shot when it's them, blast them. I was always the stormtrooper that would fly over backwards. So yes, that's my Star Wars memories that I wanted to cement into history. Yeah. I think that really is it. Really. I don't think there's anything else I need to add to that. Thank you for listening. Well done if you got to the end of this video. And as always, take care. Look after yourselves. I wish there was more time to make videos. There isn't, with a working life and a child. But basically, my other half does most of the work anyway, I always think. So I can't complain. Yes, so anyway, take care of yourselves. See you soon for another video.